Children, now we are seeing the sources of history. Already we saw what is history, what is the study of history. Now sources of history. Sources of history. Understand what is called as sources. Sources means how we can know history. Understand what are the items, what are the things which helps to study history, what are the items which we can learn history, what are the items they are helping us to learn history. The sources of history we can divide into two types. Understand, one is I told you already, two they are archaeological sources. One is archaeological sources and another one is literary sources. First we will see the archaeological sources. Understand, this archaeological sources we can divide this into four types. They are 1. Coins, second one is inscriptions, next monuments, and another one is articles, artifacts we can say. Artifacts. So we can divide the archaeological sources into four. They are coins. One is coins. Coins is otherwise called as numismatics. Coins, or we can say it as numismatics. Numismatics means coins. You have to know the important words, new words alla ninga pronunciation pannanom. Understand? So the pronunciation pannumbodhu style pronounce pannom. Archaeological sources, like that you shouldn't say. Archaeological sources, inscriptions, monuments, numismatics, literary sources, history, like that you style pesanum pillingla. Okay, so you have to say this archaeological sources, they are having divisions. Four divisions are there. One is numismatics, that is coins. Another one is inscriptions. Then next one is monuments. Then the artifacts. One by one we will see. Already I told you that coins you all know, which we are using it now. Understand? One side la enna irukku, Sarnath pillar, and the Sarnath, that figure, that 4 lions back to back, adu nammaloda emblem adu irukku. Another side are there are two sides of the coin. One side we can have the Sarnath coin, and another side is we have the rupee, head or tail we can say. Understand? So like that, before that the rulers, they ruled our country, Ashoka, Akbar, Mughal, all the Mughal kings, Aurangzeb, and many other sultans, many sultans, the Ibrahim Lodi, then Syed dynasty, Vijayanagar dynasty, many dynasties they ruled, many emperors they ruled our country. Understand? So yaar rule பண்றாங்களோ, those who are ruling, அவங்களோட figure, understand, the face, the figure of that particular king, அது அவங்களோட coinல இருக்கும். Many types of coins, silver coins இருந்தது. At that time they used even gold coins, silver coins, copper coins, many coins were there at that time. Okay, understand children? And now next there are, simply I will write gold coins, silver coins and copper coins. Coins la there are various types. And by this inscriptions, what are called as inscriptions? Abdin paathon sonna, they are rock edicts 1. Rock edicts, then temple wall, temple wall, and another one is metal pillar and copper plates. Metal pillar and for one is copper plates. They are called as inscriptions. Inscriptions means the records. Understand? The records which were not written records. உங்களுக்கு ஓலையில் அந்த காலத்தில் அப்படி எழுதுறது not written records. They will recorded in the rock edicts. பாறை இருக்கும்ல, கல் இருக்கும்ல, அதெல்லாம் அவங்க ராக்ல எடிக்ட் பண்ணியிருப்பாங்க. Understand? And the caves, the walls of the caves, அதில் இருக்கிறதெல்லாம் we can see. The temple of the walls, அதில் we can see. We can know how they ruled the country, how the people were, what they ate, what language they spoke. From that all the news we can gather from the inscriptions. Next one is monuments. Understand? This monuments we can see the palaces, then the fort, temple, stupa. Then one by one we will see the palaces, then forts. Children, can you know what is palaces? What are called as palaces? The great big building, the Aranmanai, so the kings, the emperors, the rulers, the queen will be in the palaces. Understand? The fort, what are called as forts? Yeah, big கோட்டை சொல்கிறோம்ல, பெரிய பெரிய கோட்டை கட்டியிருப்பாங்க அந்த ராஜாக்கெல்லாம், அதில் மறைஞ்சிருப்பாங்க the soldiers எல்லாம். From that forts only they will attack the enemies. Understand? So the forts and temples, stupas, many temples were built by the kings. Then stupas, like that. So these are the examples of monuments. The artifacts, what are called as artifacts? In the sense, portraits, பானைகள் சொல்கிறோம்ல, அந்த காலத்தில் அவங்க யூஸ் பண்ண portraits we can say, then toys, then tools, then ornaments, அவங்க போட்டுட்டு இருந்த ornaments சொல்கிறோம்ல, they are called as the artifacts. So these artifacts, then coins. Children, are you taking down in the notebook then? You just write down. Take down in the notebooks. Whatever I am writing in the board, on the board, you have to take down in your notebooks. Understand? So coins. Then third one is this inscriptions and the monuments. Monuments are the statues, the figures of the kings, the figures of the soldiers, the figures. Understand? We can see in the palaces, the buildings of the forts. Okay, so these are the types of archaeological sources. I told you what are the sources of history? There are two sources. They are archaeological sources and literary sources. Understand? In archaeological sources, there are 4 divisions. They are, what are they? The coins, the numismatics, and the second one is inscriptions, third one is monuments, and the fourth one is artifact. Understand? Now, we will come on to the literary sources. The literary sources we can divide it into 2. They are secular literature and religious literature. There are 2 types of literary sources. One is secular literature and another one is religious literature. Secular in the sense we can know about what are the literary sources. They are the written records. The written records, it is called as literary sources. எழுதப்பட்ட ஆதாரங்கள். சோர்சஸ்னா என்ன பிள்ளைங்களா? ஆதாரங்கள். ஒரு நாட்டை பற்றி, ஒரு கண்ட்ரியை பற்றி, ஒரு ராஜாவை பற்றி, ஒரு ராணியை பற்றி, அப்போ நிறைய வார்லாம் நடக்கும் இல்லை, அமங் த கிங்ஸ். ஓகே, அந்த வாரை பற்றிலாம் தெரிஞ்சுக்கணுன்னா we have some sources. அந்த சோர்சஸ் தான் என்னது? ஆதாரங்கள் in Tamil. ஓகே, ஸோ நீங்கள் இப்போ 6th ஸ்டாண்டர்டில் வந்திருக்கிறதுனால it will be difficult to say all these words, but you have to follow whatever we are teaching, whatever the word I am pronouncing. நீங்களும் ஒரு தடவை சொல்லி பார்த்துக்கோங்க. இப்போ நம்ம கிளாஸில் இருந்தோன்னா I will say you to repeat it again. I will read in the book. நீங்கள் அப்போ அதை அப்படியே ரிப்பீட் பண்ணலாம். பட் இன் ஆன்லைன் கிளாஸஸ் இட்ஸ் வெரி டிஃபிகல்ட்மா. ஸோ இட் இஸ் வெரி difficult to learn. You cannot pronounce unless இப்போ நான் மிஸ்ஸு சொல்லும் போதே you have to repeat it, then only you can follow. Okay children? So the written records, they are called as literary sources. There are two types of literary sources. One is secular literature and another one is religious literature. Very good. Okay, in this secular literature we can see the என்னெல்லாம் secular literature. What are the secular literature? The epics and the accounts of travelers and the accounts of Indian writers, Indian authors also we can say. And the fourth one, the folk songs, the songs. So they are called as secular literature. Understand? The epics we can say, and the accounts of the foreign travelers. The foreign travelers like Yuan Shuang, he came from China. Then Fa Hien, they came from China. And many foreign travelers, they came from European countries. Understand? Then from Japan. Okay. So from their accounts, from their written records, அவங்க நம்ம நாட்டில் வந்து நம்ம நாட்டில் இருக்கிற ராஜாலாம் எப்படி இருக்கிறாங்க, எப்படி வார் டிக்ளேர் பண்ணுறாங்க, how they, what are the articles, what are the arms, weapons they are using in the war. அப்புறம் அந்த வாரில் யார் வின் பண்ணது, எந்த இயரில், in which year they fought the war between whom. நம்ம இந்தியன் கிங்குக்கும் ஒரு பிளேஸ் கிங்குக்கும் இன்னொரு பிளேஸ் கிங்கு யாருக்கு நடந்தது சண்டை, அதை பற்றி எல்லாம் என்ன, they are written in the records. They are called as secular literature. And Indian authors also, Indian Chanakya, understand, the great Chanakya, and many songs, the folk songs which is sung by the great poets, we can say. Understand? So they are the secular literature. Another one literature, what I told you, yes, very good, that is religious literature. Understand? Religious literature la ennala nama paakalam. The religious literatures, epics we can say. The epics le the two great epics are there, the Ramayana and Mahabharata. Ramayana and Mahabharata, do you know? நீங்கள் டிவியில் கூட நீங்கள் பார்த்துருப்பீங்க ராமாயணா. In Tamil book you can see Ramayana and Mahabharata. Okay, about Rama, it's about the story of Rama, that is Ramayana. The Panch Pandavas we can see, அந்த பஞ்ச் பாண்டவா, தருமா, சத்ருகா, அவங்கள பற்றி அர்ஜுனா, அவங்கள பற்றிலாம் படிக்கிறது மகாபாரதா. Understand? So they are called as the two great epics. Okay, so it is religious literature. Religion சம்பந்தப்பட்ட literature சொல்றதா religious literature. Okay children, so this religious literature we can see, we can say epics and devotional songs, devotional literature. Devotional literature. Devotional literature means in the sense Devaram, Tiruvasagam, Nalaya Divya Prabandham, அந்த மாதிரிலாம் எழுதி சேக்கிலார் அவங்கெல்லாம் எழுதுனாங்கல்ல, அதெல்லாம் called as, they are called as devotional literature. Can you able to follow children? Or you understand? Okay. So again I will repeat you. The sources of history, it's divided into two, archaeological sources and literary sources. In archaeological sources there are four divisions: coins, inscriptions, monuments and artifacts. Have you understand? Each I explained already. நீங்கள் நோட்புக்கில் எழுதியிருப்பீங்க. Okay. Next another sources of history is literary sources. The literary sources we have the two types. One is secular literature and another one is religious literature. Understand? In secular literature we can know about from epics, the great epics, then accounts from the foreign travelers, accounts of the Indian authors, then many songs written by the poets. Understand? We can know. And another one is religious literature. In religious literature, we can see the epics and the devotional songs. The two great epics, Ramayana and Mahabharata, that you know already. And the devotional literature is Nalayira Divya Prabandham, Sekilar, Periya Puranam, understand? And Devaram, Thiruvasagam, the Alvas and the Nayanmas. There were 63 Nayanmas and 12 Alvas. Understand? அதெல்லாம் உங்களுக்கு லோயர் கிளாஸஸ்லேயும் நீங்கள் படிச்சிருப்பீங்க. இன் ஹையர் கிளாஸஸ்லேயும் நீங்கள் வந்தீங்கன்னு சொன்னால் இன் 8th standard we can study all those things. Understand children? Shall we pass on to next one? Okay. Have you all this copied down? Finish? Okay. We'll see the next one. Next, in the page number, you can see 113 the case study. What are the important many emperors we saw? The very important emperor was Emperor Ashoka. We can say the great Ashoka. Ashoka the great. Understand? The great அப்படின்றது எல்லா கிங்குக்கும் சொல்ல மாட்டாங்க. Akbar the Great, Ashoka the Great, Alexander the Great. Understand? Babar the Great சொல்ல மாட்டாங்க. Jahangir the Great அப்படி கிடையாது. Understand? Shah Jahan the Great அப்படி கிடையாது. Only for few emperors, few kingsக்கு தான் நம்ம அந்த great அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவோம். Like that, Ashoka the Great, Alexander the Great. Understand? Akbar the Great. Okay? So, ஏன் இப்போ அசோகாவை பற்றி we are going to see அப்படின்னு கேட்டால், this Ashoka, he was a great king, he was a great warrior. Many wars he attempted, he declared many wars, and in all the wars he got success only. Understand? Defeatன்றதே அவருக்கு கிடையாது, தோல்வியினே அவருக்கு இல்லை. Understand? In all the wars he got success, and especially a great war, the last war which was fought by Ashoka was Kalinga war. In the Kalinga war, many people, many soldiers, they lost their life. On seeing the battlefield, King Ashoka, அப்படியே battlefield he walked like that. He saw all the dead bodies in the battlefield. அதெல்லாம் பார்த்த உடனே his heart was broken. அப்படியே அவர் மனசு உடைஞ்சு போயிட்டாரு. ஐயோ, many soldiers they lost their life. And the soldiers oda wives எல்லாம் they cried a lot. The children in the battlefield everywhere they were cried. Understand? So on seeing all the dead bodies of the soldiers, his heart was very much it was affected, and this at that time he announced that hereafter I won't wage war for anybody. Understand? I won't declare any war அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டு he decided. So this Kalinga war was the last war of this great Ashoka. So afterwards he started to follow Buddhism. And he spread dharma. He started to spread dharma. Dharma means peace and ahimsa. So he declared that hereafter he won't wage war, and he started to follow Buddhism, and he spread on அவங்களோட son, daughter எல்லாரையும் என்ன பண்ணாரு, இந்த புத்திசமை ஸ்ப்ரெட் பண்ணுறதுக்கு, தர்மாவை ஸ்ப்ரெட் பண்ணுறதுக்கு he sent his son and the daughter, understand, to all over the countries to give speech about peace and what we can say ahimsa. He embraced Buddhism. Understand?